is off with this plane? Why is there white spray coming out of the rear of the pilots dump costly fuel overboard, which you as a passenger has just paid for? Did the pilots miscalculate the fuel they need from the trip to A to B? Called dry operating weight. Then the payload comes on board. This is the passengers and the cargo. And then you have the so-called zero fuel weight. Then the fuel truck connects to the wing and fuels the plane with the calculated fuel to reach your destination, the so-called trip fuel, plus contingency, plus alternate, final reserve, and taxi fuel, or better known as the block fuel. If you add up all weights, you have your today's takeoff weight, but for today's video, the landing weight plays a more important role. So the Boeing 747's maximum landing weight is 312,000 kilos, which is a structural weight. How can the maximum structural landing weight be lower than the takeoff weight if the plane is already so heavy upon takeoff? Now, all other limiting weights aren't as much subject to impact forces as compared to math, and decided that if the pilots land the plane with the descent rate of not more than sort of roughly 300 to 400 feet per minute at a maximum landing weight of 312,000 kilograms damage, and its structural integrity will be impaired after a so-called overweight land. And what that's got to do with a plastic water bottle. So let's get started. You here can see our 747 shortly before landing at Los Angeles. So this water bottle shows the remaining fuel, the passengers and cargo, and the crew plus the actual weight of the plane minus the burnt trip fuel, and you can see the landing weight is well below the maximum landing weight, vertical speed upon touchdown. As you can see, no damage. Your cabin crew member comes into the cockpit stating that one of her passengers just had a heart attack. Now, the flight attendants and an onboard doctor are doing their best to help the passenger, but decide that the passenger immediately needs to get to a hospital. The nearest suitable airport is Dublin. You quickly check your current airplane weight and realize you're highly overweight for an immediate landing. So back to our imaginary plane, the same airplane, same passengers and luggage and crew, but loads of yet unburned fuel, increasing your current landing weight, which is obviously way above the maximum limit. Meaning if you now try to immediately land the plane, this could potentially happen. Your plane could suffer severe stop margin, creating a potential procedure comes to play. To quickly reduce the airplane's weight, the pilots open the spring-loaded valves via the fuel dumping panel, and the now unnecessary fuel gets literally dumped overboard. It leaves the aircraft through a specific hose on each wing, usually closer to the wingtip and further away from the electrically, and are hold in the open position, but in case there's electrical failure during that dumping procedure, the spring pushes the valve back into its closed position. The dumping rate on the 747 is approximately 2 tons per minute plus the fuel burned during the procedure. So let's do the math how long we would have to open the valve until reaching an appropriate landing weight. Okay guys, quickly to the drawing board. This is the current weight the airplane has right now. This is the maximum landing weight, and then you subtract that from that and you get the weight you have to lose. So those are the 77 tons we have to lose in order to not be above the max landing weight in Dublin. So as previously mentioned, the fuel dumping rate of the Boeing 747 is 2 tons per minute, but you also have to add the fuel burned during that time, and the 747 burns 12 tons per hour, so you have to calculate how much it uses per minute and then add that to the fuel dumping rate. Okay, here we have the calculation. 12 tons equals 60 minutes. 1 minute equals how many tons? So you got the 12 tons right here times 1 minute divided by 60 minutes, crosses out the minutes, gives you 0.2 tons per minute, which you have to add onto the fuel dumping rate of 2 tons. Okay, so here we have the final calculation. We have 77 tons divided by 2.2 tons per minute, and that equals 35 minutes for the fuel dumping procedure. And by the point where you decided actually to turn towards Dublin, that is a 45-minute routing, so you definitely have another 10 minutes where you're going to burn some extra fuel, meaning that you're definitely going to be below your max. Airbus A320, which aren't fitted with the fuel jettison system, have to burn the fuel by flying holding patterns until the airplane weight is below the maximum landing weight.